Hello, everybody. This is your host, Rae Johnson, for the Hangover Sports podcast, and I'm joined by some of the OG crew for this podcast. As you know and love, JP Grace, runner track star extraordinaire. We also have Max Gray, who's an expert in pretty much every sport here on the podcast. So I wanted to start out to see what you guys want to talk about in the sense of your respective sports for updates.
I'm going to go a little off topic here, but the guy from the U.S. who just won with tennis, as Max gives me two middle finger, or almost won with tennis. Who did he beat? Did he beat Roger Federer?
He beat Nadal.
Or Nadal, sorry.
He beat Nadal a few rounds ago, and then he lost in the semis.
Yeah, that was a great match, that semi-final game.
And then the championships are today, the men's finals today. I think the women's final was yesterday.
I mean, that guy who he played was like 17 or something.
Yeah.
Who beat him.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a crazy run from him. 20th seed, pretty crazy.
I would be lying if I told you a little part of me died Friday night.
Same here.
No, just me, not you, JP. You don't deserve it.
Yeah, but that's what I'll start off with first.
Perfect. Yeah.
So I'm actually curious now, because I didn't know you guys followed tennis quite as closely. I mean, I know you've brought it up from here and there, but I didn't know you tracked it as much as the other sports you guys are into. So, who are you hoping will win the final match?
On the men's side?
Yeah.
Tomorrow? Tomorrow's match, let's see. We got, let's see what time the final match is, and I will give you all the parameters of it.
Yeah, but no, the U.S. Open is super underrated as we haven't covered that a lot, but
okay.
It was really interesting. I wanted Nadal to win that match, but to see a U.S. player go as far as he did, that's really exciting because we've only seen that with players like Serena Williams on the female side.
Yeah, and we had a few men's champions about 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Pete Sampras, and everything. Well, I would say that so we had the final today for the men's U.S. Open Championship. It's going to be Casper Ruud versus Alcaraz Garcia. And Alcaraz Garcia is the one who ended up beating Frances Tiafoe, who was the American, in 5 sets with 6-3 in the 5th on Friday night. So it's going to be a great match today, and I'm excited to sort of see how this all transpires because right now we have the 5 seed versus the 3 seed today. So we all know that fact that the men's final is going to be here today, and I think I'm going to put money on the Spaniard today. I think Casper Ruud is going to be a little shorthanded, but what I saw from the Spaniard against Tiafoe on Friday night, I'm going to I will be wagering my money on Alcaraz today at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, Alcaraz, 17 years old, really looks strong, has a strong serve. No, he looks very good, and I think he'll probably end up winning. And it's great to see a younger athlete like that dominate. Yeah,
I would totally agree. I think he's going to be part of the next generation when it comes to tennis players. When you've got Alcaraz, you've got Frances Tiafoe, who he just beat, he's right now 22 or 23 years old. And there's a lot of great talent coming up, which should be fun because I know that I think Federer and Nadal and Djokovic era is going to come to an end. So it's great to see sort of the transformation of the talent that is going to come across.
Yeah, I 100% agree with what you just said. Yeah, no, it's definitely great that we're having some new talent in the sport, and it's going to keep it energized for a while. And this happens with every sport where we see, the next generation of athletes come in, and it's super exciting. So I'm happy for the future of tennis after watching this U.S. Open.
Well, that does sound encouraging for sure. I am curious, though, even though I know it's a long way out, especially because it's currently September. But out of curiosity, just based off this past season, who do you guys think for the 2023 March Madness will play well? Or is that really hard to tell?
That's kind of hard to tell at the moment, but we do have college football going on right now.
That is true. College basketball, which is the March Madness, starts in November, so we still are a few months out of that. But what we have going on, we had another week of college football that transpired. We saw quite a few of upsets actually transpired. Notre Dame lost, which was in a shocking fashion, to one unranked small school, and Texas A&M ended up losing as well. So 2 top 10 teams, I think, ended up losing yesterday. So it's gonna be a great shakeout of the rankings that I think come out around 2 or 3 o'clock today. And yeah, so that was yesterday. So it's gonna be interesting to see who can transpire when it comes to eventually the college football playoff down the road in December.
Yeah, Alabama almost lost to Texas. That was a very good game. That game way down to the wire.
I got so mad during that game.
Yes,
and I
did.
cried my tears out, and I cried myself to sleep like I do every night.
Oh, no.
So we almost saw 3 top teams get taken out almost.
Exactly. Almost. It's a great game, and there's a couple also great games going. There's a BYU game that was the 10:15, 10:30 p.m. game that ended up happening at the very, very late section of last night. And then I think and BYU ended up winning that game, and USC ended up just beating Stanford by 2 touchdowns, which is a good win for them. I don't know how I feel about that, but I'm dealing with it. Let's put it that way.
Well, I feel like you're not the only one, considering how much of a shakeup that seems to be. It's pretty crazy.
I mean, going back to the Alabama game, Bryce Young played very well. Hudson Card played really well. We saw a really good matchup between the quarterbacks. Obviously, not a lot of touchdowns, a lot of field goals, especially that last field goal. But overall, what do you think you're most excited about with college football, Max?
College football, I'm excited about everything. I'm excited about the fact that Tennessee beat Pitt in an exciting final overtime game with battled 2 top 25 teams. I'm excited about the fact that Texas Tech upset number 25 Houston in overtime as well. And the fact that I know I have some friends who are Florida fans, but I'm going to briefly mention this. The fact that Kentucky, number 20 Kentucky, ended up beating Florida by 10 points on Saturday night primetime game. There's just a lot to be excited about when I think it comes to football. And I still can't believe that Marshall lost to Notre Dame. Notre Dame is now 0-2 and started this season as a top 5 team, and now they're going to probably be going all the way down in the rankings, which is also bad for me because I play Notre Dame actually next week, and I was hoping to beat them to be very high when I played them.
Yeah.
It's an exciting day. What is your opinion about everything, JP?
Yeah, I think it's really exciting. As you said with Houston, I actually know someone who's playing for Houston right now, who was in my high school with me for a little bit. So, I think college football is going to be really exciting. Obviously, we have the NFL going on and continuing today. So I think it's really exciting. I think ball sports are looking up. The U.S. Open has gone really well. The college football season has gotten up to a great start. Football, the NFL seems like it's going in a good direction. I think it's all going in a good direction, really. I think with basketball, obviously we have some time. We have some stuff. We had some stuff happen like the Donovan Mitchell trade, which is super annoying. The Knicks completely blew that. I am beyond annoyed that he went to the Cavs as opposed to the Knicks, and we couldn't just give up like 2 people for him.
For all our listeners who don't know, JP is an avid Knicks fan, so he is expressing his emotions, as I would say, extremely well, I think, at this point.
Emotional damage.
Yeah, that's what it's like being a Knicks fan. Everybody.
It's all...
You just get punched in the gut every day by Bleacher Report.
No arguments here. Like I'm just sorry. I just feel bad for Knicks fans. I'm gonna be honest. For me, I'm a Warriors fan, so I am.
Yay!
So I am used to success at this point.
Good for you, Steph Curry.
Yeah.
All-time great.
Some people were just born in the correct city you need to be in, and some people weren't. Some people were born in New York, which is okay. But that just means you have to tolerate being a Knicks fan.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have you guys have one of the greatest point guards of all time playing for your team right now. Meanwhile, we have Jalen Brunson, $100 million player. Here.
I love myself some Jalen Brunson.
You would like Jalen Brunson on your team?
Yeah.
Would you give us Stephen Curry for him?
No. But I'm telling you,
Okay,
Jalen
that's
Brunson's
what
no
I'm saying.
slouch.
That's what I'm saying.
Dude, but Jalen Brunson isn't a slouch.
Yeah.
He's a future All-Star.
No, I'm not saying that he's not. I mean, it's better than Kemba Walker and Elfrid Payton, but no, it's definitely very interesting. I'm definitely very interested to see how the NBA season is going to play out too, especially with I don't think. Would you say it was a really active free agency, Max?
What? For NBA?
The NBA?
I guess I didn't really pay, as I say, I don't really pay
Yeah.
attention to it as much. So I would say, I guess, like, I don't know if it's more, I think last summer's free agency was probably more lively than this summer's. But that's sort of my opinion on it. Let's put it this way, in July and June, honestly, I was not focused on free agency. I was focused on the fact that the Raiders were playing like in 1 month, 2 months, and now season's finally here. So that's what my focus has been all summer. And also, my focus all summer has also been on Little League World Series. So I'm really I never paid attention to usually the NBA free agency. So I know that's your motive. So I'm going to give you kudos about
it
that.
definitely wasn't as active. I mean, the Donovan Mitchell thing, him getting traded was inevitable. After they traded Gobert, I assumed that was going to happen. But going back on that, I mean, and I think baseball is baseball's doing well too. Right now, the Yankees are winning. I know that pisses you off to the max.
We don't talk about it. That's my least favorite franchise in all of sports.
Jason, who is not with us today, is he's
can't
alive,
stand the
but
Yankees. There's like good people in this world, and then there's Yankees fans. So like, that's sort of my opinion about Yankees.
Well, maybe you should be born in the right city.
Even if I was born in New York, I honestly believe I'd be a Mets fan. Like honestly, I just can't stand the Yankees. There's nothing to piss me off more than I'm gonna be saying this than that pinstripe uniforms. There's no better or worse look in all sports, I feel like. And you know how much I can't stand the Lakers. So, and I think I hate the Yankees more than I hate the Lakers, and that's saying something.
Yeah, but what do we do? I mean, I guess I can see that, but I mean, hey, Aaron Judge for MVP, even though
Red Sox for the win.
Dude, they're on like a 5 or 4 game losing streak. Excuse me.
Doesn't matter. I prefer being my uncles lives in Boston, so I prefer to be a Boston fan over a Yankees fan because I have no connection to the city of New York, and it's not that great of a city, low key.
But going off teams that you dislike, the Lakers are still the greatest franchise of all time.
It's such a short list. It's insanely short how short it is, and the fact that you're on that list just tells me everything you need to be about that franchise.
All right, well, I'm going to go to a slightly different subject here. So I'm going to introduce, since Jason is not with us as much anymore because he's focusing on his other podcast, I decided that, and you can comment down below if you want to continue seeing this, or listening to this rather, about me talking about golf, because I used to play when I was 12 up until I started going here.
Yes.
Because it's way too busy college student unless you're on scholarship to play golf. So for the August 25th through 28th tournament that happened in East Lake, Rory McIlroy creamed the competition with 1 stroke difference from a South Korean by doing 21 under on the 4 rounds, which is crazy, honestly. Just thinking about how when I would used to play and just meeting a scratch golfer, it's just insane that anyone over the course of 4 days, pun intended, can get 21 under. I mean, with the par being 70, it's one of the slightly harder courses, because if it's, under 72 with it being 71 or 70, it's one of those outlines for terrain of a course that is going to be slightly more challenging. And yeah, the difference of a stroke or two does make a difference. And it's just crazy, because then also Scotty Scheffler, goodness, sorry Scotty, but he's an American who tied second place South Korean player. So yeah, we have to look out for these foreigners here in the men's, clearly. Although I'm not surprised Rory McIlroy won, even though I haven't followed golf quite as much recently. Because even before I stopped watching golf, it is not surprising with how he's consistently been in the top for quite some time that he's won this tournament. And then switching over to women's, not surprising, because when there's a lot of South Korean women that were just killing the game, leaving us American women in the dirt. But to no surprise, there's Chinese Yu Lin that won with 16 under at Kenwood Country Club. And it actually just ended today. It was September 8th through 11th. And in second, it's Ali Ewing, who also was 16 under. But the disbursement of the scores, considering how the Chinese lady was 8 under on the first round and just consistently had done that probably is the reason why they gave her the win. And then tied for third place is Maria Fassi from Mexico and Ah Lim Kim from South Korea. What a surprise. South Korean women, man, they're always in the top. But it's truly amazing how, even though it's not 21 under, 16 under is no easy feat either by any means. So these women are doing quite well. Considering how the tie for third is 14-13 under, that's pretty insane, I'd have to say. So, and it's still going on live, so, this could easily change between these top 4 women. The round's not quite done yet, because it seems like they've teed off quite recently, considering how Zhu Lin and Ali Ewing are 2 and 0 respectively, 2 under and 0. So it literally can be anyone's game at this point, considering how Ali and Zui are literally the same under par stats here. So it'll be interesting to see if after this podcast airs, if anything changes up, and I will put in the description if after today, if maybe Ali pulls ahead or so forth, because that would be crazy for an American to finally beat out these foreigners here. They clearly know what they're doing. So it's that rote training, I tell you. I've just always known that they've specialized in it. In fact, there was a 16-year-old, I forget her name, it makes me so sad right now, but I actually saw her in person a few years ago at the Women's Open where Michelle Wee won, and I was fangirling so hard that happened. And that was when I was 13 or 14, but it's crazy because I've just heard that she didn't even go to school or anything. She was homeschooled and just golfed all the time, all the time. So it's no surprise that, especially with how there's not as huge a pull for homeschooling in America, that it makes so much sense that Chinese, Mexican, and South Korean women are just killing the game with how wonderful they're performing, and it clearly shows.
Do you think we're gonna see Tiger Woods ever play extremely well again?
Considering how many surgeries he's had, one where, in my opinion, kind of rightly so, caused by his wife, and then, that set of injuries, and then how he's continued to just been fighting against his body with all the injuries he's accumulated over the years, I feel he's burned himself out too much to the point where maybe by some miracle he can be in top 20, but I don't think at all he's going to be in the top 5 for sure. And it also doesn't help that he's much older than the peak of his career.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, he obviously had the resources and the money, good Lord knows the money, to train in such a way to not overexert himself.
Mm-hmm.
But he just, since the way his dad had trained him from a very young age, it's just ingrained into him to push himself even more than he probably should. And it's caused him to have the body issues that he has now, with his performance clearly affected. So it would be really hard, in my opinion, for him to climb up the ranks again. I mean, maybe if he were younger and had some of these injuries, he'd be able to heal faster possibly with, physical therapy and stuff, but it's looking pretty grim for him in that regard. But he's really freaking rich, so he could retire and not be a worry.
Yeah, I mean, that car crash, seeing him what did he compete in after, what was his first thing after the car crash that he competed in? I remember I was watching it, and he just did not look well.
Yeah, I forget the exact
He had
thing.
the car crash, so whoever it is, it's going to be destroyed the game.
They were saying that they needed to amputate his legs and stuff, but, he still played in it, and it looks like he's still playing, but I think he might be close to retiring. I don't know if Max will agree this year.
I think he should. It'd be the smartest thing to do, considering how much money he's accumulated with sponsors and stuff. Yeah. And the more controversial he potentially could be with how he's already been through a lot of that, the more sponsors will pull out. So I think he should just quit while he's ahead, personally.
I think as a Tiger fan, I want to say he has one more in him, but he has so many leg problems, he has so many injuries. Where I think he'll still pay because you could still get paid for finishing 34th or 30th, which I feel like he's gonna finish a lot now with how many injuries he's had.
Yeah.
But back of my mind, part of me for some reason thinks he can get one more. And because part of it was he was so dominant for so long, for such a short
insane.
He won
no one
every
could compare.
He won almost every major. I need to look at the exact year, but when he was this was 1990, 2005. He won almost every. He was so dominant.
Yeah.
Everyone was oh yeah, he's gonna pass. He's gonna pass. He's gonna be easily the all-time major winner.
Yeah.
Which is.
I mean,
the
it
fact
seemed
that
like
this
the
can
other
happen
golfers
now,
shouldn't have
he
even
might
shut
have,
up.
he's gonna come close. He's still gonna come close to the all-time major win total, but he's not gonna surpass it part of because of the injury thing. But it's just amazing to see how dominant he was for such a long period of time.
It really is insane. He pretty much was the next Jack Nicklaus, more modernized version for sure, and all of those greats, hands down.
Yeah.
But just the way he conducted his life outside of golf and how he pushed himself too far where his body couldn't take it. And, obviously you can't help a car crash unless it was his fault. But things like that just mount up and you can't be at another peak from that. There's just no way physically for that to be the case.
Yeah, I just think it's, just injuries and some other things that has happened in his personal life and ended up derailing him, which I think he still has a conversation. You can still make an argument as he's one of the best golfers of all time, but it could have been so easy, 5-10 years ago to say, oh, he's easily going to pass Jack Nicklaus. Oh, yeah, he's easily going to pass everybody. Because that's how dominant he was.
Yeah.
You know? It's like one of those things where, like, you can make the argument still that he's probably the best golfer, but, like, it's hard. It's not, like, he was going at such a pace for so short of a time and so long where it was, like, everyone was like, oh, yeah, he's easily going to pass everybody. But the thing is, the injuries happen.
Yeah.
And then the lawsuits happen. And then the magazines happen.
The unfortunate thing about all of that is the way it played out, in the sense of, obviously, with such a great caliber player he has been for so long, you anticipate that at a certain point he's going to retire, but you don't anticipate it being in the way that it is panning out to be, because you know that at some point he's going to leave behind the newest generation, like what JP and Max were talking about earlier for tennis. That's inevitable. You know, I'd love to see players like Ricky Fowler, because he hasn't really won too many, and Bubba Watson shoot up more, even though Bubba's, you know, a little bit older than Ricky. But I'd love to see them, and, you know, Dustin Johnson. I'd love to see all three of those shoot up and get into those top slots, because Rory clearly isn't slowing down anytime soon, and he's you know, I wish I could say he was American. I'm going to pretend he is, just for my own sanity right now. But, you know, the third spot is American. You know, there's still a South Korean player beating us. It's crazy how these talented Asian people are just taking away those top two spots from us. But I would just love to see a lot more of our American folks just climbing up those ranks to be in those top two spots, because it isn't by too many strokes, you know, it's just literally by one. So, and that one putt really can make a difference.
Yeah, it really can.
Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this entire episode with talking about sports we haven't usually touched on, like tennis and golf, and then of course what these two are experts on, sandwiched in the middle, and that you have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and stay tuned for the next one.